In this last one, we're going to be looking at, very similar to what Jackie just showed, we'll be looking at some lines, spectral lines, and specifically, if you've seen Jdaviz before, the new things that maybe you haven't seen before is the ability to load custom line lists through our just general loader infrastructure into the line list plugin. We're going to create a table or catalogs in Jdaviz and load those into the application from like an AstroPi table, that sort of thing. And just the ability to create new viewers. Previously in InViz, you could create new image viewers, but CubeViz, SpecViz, those were kind of locked down to the set of viewers that were very standard and you couldn't really change. So we're just going to import everything that we need. Here in the notebook, we're going to download a file from Mast. Sorry, I'm distracted because I'm seeing the messages come in. These notebooks will be available after the demo. You can always download them locally from the Jupyter Hub server here and use them later. So we've downloaded this using AstroQuery observations, and then we're just going to use AstroPi fits to open the file and just see what's in there. So we can see all of our extensions. For a spectrum, we just kind of want the flux and the wavelength, and we're going to load those into a specutil spectrum object. I will also note we kind of pulled things out of the file with AstroPi, and now we're loading them into a specutils spectrum object. Specutils does also have a spectrum.read where you could just load it directly with specutils into the same object there without going through AstroPi first. I have to mention that because I'm a specutils maintainer in addition to working on Jdaviz. So now that we have our data, we're going to load that into Jdaviz. Again, unlike previously when we kind of had specviz.load, cubeviz.load, this is now just jdaviz.load, and we tell it what format we want to load this as. And as Jackie did, in your version of the notebook, it probably has location equals pop-out window for the jdaviz.show call. I'm just going to load it into the sidecar instead. And pull that out. You can see that mine is behaving a little bit better than Jackie's was. I have my viewer toolbar going all the way across. One other thing I will note is we had this yellow message pop up there. You may have missed it and not read it quickly. I don't think I read that quickly. But basically that was saying that the 1D spectrum we see down here in this viewer was automatically extracted from this 2D spectrum. So we only loaded this 2D spectrum into Jdaviz and it automatically extracted this. If you go to info, to the logger, if you ever miss a message that pops up and disappears, you can always go back and read it here. So if this was an auto extraction, if you did want to do something a little more precise or change the parameters of the extraction, I will just note you could go into this 2D spectral extraction plugin and change the trace, the background windows, all that sort of things here and do your own extraction. But we're just going to work with it as it is. One of the fun things that you haven't seen so far, so we've talked about how you can do pretty much everything through the user API in notebook cells as you could in the UI. Sometimes it's useful to kind of see what the API call is corresponding to what you see in the UI. So we can actually toggle on API hints in the UI. And this call I just did in the notebook, that's equivalent of pressing this button. And that will turn on API hints. So you can't really see much right now, but say we open up like the loaders, you can see everywhere you could change something in the UI has the equivalent API call. Or for example, in that spectral extraction plugin that I just showed, you can see you would access the plugin API via this jd.plugins 2D spectral extraction call. And then this kind of gives you all of the API calls you would write in your notebook in order to change these parameters. Or, this button has turned into, it's still a button, but it shows you could call plugin.export extract spectrum, all the stuff like that. So very handy to just be able to see your hints and what you would do in the API. So in our case here, we know that we are interested, we know this is a creating pre-made sequence star. So likely the emission lines we see are hydrogen emission lines. So we are going to create a little AstroPy Q table that just stands for quantity table because these have units attached to them. So we're going to load the Passion alpha, bracket beta, and bracket gamma lines into a table. So you can see here, we have created an AstroPy table with the names of the lines and the rest values for their wavelengths. And then just like a FITS file or a mass URI, we can just put that table into Jdaviz.load, which is very general now, and tell it that the format is a line list, so it kind of knows what to do with it. And we run that cell. Now, we don't see anything yet because we have not told the plugin, the line list plugin, to show them yet. So from the API, we can also do things like open the plugins that we're interested in. So we open the line list plugin here. You can also see this is what the Redshift slider is supposed to look like. Jackie had a little bit of a displaying bug there in her presentation. So you can see this does in fact look like a slider bar that you can move around. And if we scroll down here, we see now that in addition to being able to load preset line lists, we have loaded from the API this imported list of lines. So we have our 3 lines that we loaded there. And if we click plot all, we can now see that they show up down here in our spectrum. And unlike in Jackie's presentation, this is not redshifted like that galaxy was. So they do show up right where we expect them pretty much. I'm going to close this for now just so we can see this a little bit better. And in fact, one of the nice things about having our viewers is you can rearrange your viewers by clicking this kind of gray box up at the top. So since I don't really care about my 2D spectrum, I'm just going to tab these 2 viewers together just so you can see the one-dimensional spectrum a little bit better. And I'm also, I'm supposed to be doing everything in the API, but I'm just gonna zoom in here a little bit and adjust. So, all right, I'm done cheating and using the UI. As in Claire's demo, we want to create some subsets. So in this case, instead of an image, we have a 1D spectrum. So we're basically gonna create subsets out of a range of wavelength values around the lines that we're interested in. So we grab the subset tools plugin user API here. And then here we're just going to, through specutil spectral regions, we'll just define 3 regions and import them as subsets. So now you can see those subset layers were created. And now we can use them for various things. So let's just zoom into one. So we go to our plot options plugin and zoom in here. I'm just going to adjust that. So we can see we have our line, we have our subset that encompasses this emission line. And if we want to go back to the full view, we can reset our viewer bounds. So now what can we do with these subsets around our lines? Basically, we want to get some information about these lines, get the flux, the equivalent width, that sort of thing. So to do that, we have, you could go in through model fitting and kind of fit AstroPy models to each of these lines and be very precise about it. But we also have kind of a quick look line analysis plugin that on the back end uses specutils. So we're going to use that. Here you can see, so in the plugin, you can see we have our API hints activated. So you can see plugin.dataset equals this label. If you access these traits in the API, like in a notebook cell, so just printing like line analysis.dataset or line analysis.spectral subset, in addition to the one that is selected, when you print that out in the notebook, you can also see what your choices are. So there's only one dataset loaded, so the dataset only has one choice. But for your spectral subset, you can see in the choices we have, you could either just do it over the whole spectrum, or we see we have choices for our 3 subsets that we've defined. So we don't really have to define the subset because we only have one, but we're going to do it anyway for completeness. And now we're going to select the Paschen alpha line and surrounding continuum. Basically, this is saying consider your continuum 3 times the width around the line as the actual line. And we're going to set it to when we calculate our results, we're going to add that to a table. So we call that, and you see in addition to printing out the results in the notebook, it has also populated, that's flashing, that's a little annoying, but it's also populated in the UI, the results, and also it's created this results table down here that as we calculate for the other 2 lines, you'll see those results show up here. So let's repeat that for the other 2 lines. And as I said, after calculating those, now we have this table populated with the line flex equivalent width, etc., for the 3 lines that we were interested in. So we can get that table out of the UI back into the notebook by calling lineanalysis.export table. And you can see that gets us back out yet another AstroPy table, like the one that we defined our lines with. I'm going to close that because that flashing is annoying me. And now one of the new things in Jdaviz 5.0 is you can load tables and catalogs into the application, not just files or lines. So to do that, Claire mentioned object is one of the things we can load. So we set the loader to know that we're going to be giving it an object from the notebook. So we see it's expecting a Python object. And this is something you actually have to do from the API. You can't really, we can't expose every single Python object that exists in this session in like a menu here. So you do have to say the object we're trying to load is this table that we've just created. And we want it to know that the format is a catalog. So we do that. And before we finish loading this data, we're going to create a new viewer, basically. Tell this that it's creating a table viewer. And we're going to give it a name so that then when we load this data, it's going to know to create this table viewer that has this title. And here we just define a couple other parameters. We're telling it, when you load a catalog, we tell it what the X column is, what the Y column is, and some other columns that we're interested to load. So we run that, and I believe I actually broke everything by tabbing these viewers. So that's great. The nice thing is, let me not do things that I was not supposed to do and just rerun the entire notebook through this cell, and hopefully this should work. So let me just restart and run up to the selected cell. I do need to get rid of this so it can create a new one. So this is just running through everything we just did through the API. Hooray for reproducible workflows by using the API. And there we go. You can see this time I did not mess with things by tapping them together. I will take a note that that is perhaps a little bug we have. But now you can see we've gotten back down to the point where we were, and we've created this catalog viewer. So this has our table of results from the line analysis plugin in a new viewer in the UI. And then the last thing I'll show is, in addition to loading this as a table, we can also create a scatter plot from this information. So here I'm opening the tool to add data or viewers. This time it's in the viewer tab. I'm going to give this new viewer a label and tell it which data set it wants. And so now, in addition to our other viewers, and I'm done creating viewers, so I am now going to kind of tab that away. So now we've also created, in addition to our catalog viewer, a scatter viewer. This is clearly not a very exciting scatter plot because there's 3 points, but this is just to demonstrate that you can do it. And again, we can change our plot options through the API. So let's just open that up and make these points a little clearer. So now you can actually see the points on the scatter plot. So yeah, that is a demo of a couple new things, basically using all API calls through the notebook. Um, I did not actually plan to mess up my viewers and show that this makes things very reproducible, but that was a great little demo of how nice it is to have all of your calls in the API to just remake the workflow you had previously done.